Okay, welcome everyone. As we are dedicated by A.B. Spry for Nachas from children and grandchildren, we are dedicated by Ed Salah from London and Joshua Rosenberg, by Yaakov Yimansky, with Akar to the Rav and the Zoom family, Nachas from children and grandchildren, A.B. Spry from Nachas from children and grandchildren, Baruch Ion Le'ilei Nishmas Yaakov Chaim Ben Abba, Esther Bas Gittel, Avram Ben Shmuel HaKain, by Shalom Fogel, Le'ilei Nishmas Yaakov Zeb Ben Yehuda Aryeh, Rivka Bas Reb Yaakov Yosef, Maris Sivya Miriam Bas Gad, and Yosef Ben Tzim Ben Yaakov Zev. The Neshama should have an aliyah. We welcome in Saba, and we welcome in Aaron Swade. We welcome in Irving Fishbaum, and this is a nice square. As we welcome in Yitzi Fuchs and Rabbi Kranz and Mark Frankel, who, although I have to tell you, Mark, I hope you have a full shalom. You look wonderful. I think vacation is good for you. And we welcome in Marshall Castle, Yisrael Fisher, Mo Kushner, Dr. Black, Menachem Yemansky, Stephen Holtzman, Michal Akhtar, Moshe Lehman, Avram Rezepkowitz, Yitzi Muller. You come on the court with me for 10 minutes and I'll show you who's a girl.
Rabbi, that's going to be the highlight of our Shabbos.
Yeah.
I'm good with a wiffle ball. Watch out.
Yeah, you're good with a wiffle. You're good with a wiffle ball. Yeah. We have here in the shul, Baruch Hashem, Michal Avram, Gedalia Engel, Chaim Kramer, Rich Lenner, Baruch Ian, Ruvain Shannon. I don't know what happened to Berish. He was here, and maybe he had something tonight. We are holding 2 lines from the bottom of Daf Ayin Hey Amid Beis. Remember, we had a machlokes Rav and Shmuel. If Rich wants to buy a yacht and he makes Meshicha, David Helfgott is joining us in Kol Lashon, and he makes Meshicha, does he have to just pull the boat a little bit? When he pulls it a little, the whole boat moves a little bit. Or does he have to pull it its entire length? So Lema Kahani Tanoi. Let's say that they're arguing in the machlokes of the following Tanoi. The Tanya. We learned in the Braisa, Svina Niknis b'Meshicha, a boat, Rich acquiring the yacht, he could acquire it by pulling it. Rav Nosson says, Svina, a boat, the Oisios. Oisios means notes, like a promissory note. If somebody is buying paper, he's buying, promissory notes, he's getting it for 50 cents on the dollar, or whatever it is, he's buying notes. And boat, Niknas b'Mashicha, is acquired with pulling it, ubishtar, and with a document. Says the Gemara, this doesn't make sense at all. Ice. Why does the second opinion? Why does Reb Nosson throw in about notes? Who mentioned them? That he's responding. Usually, the second opinion. Welcome, Sandy. Usually, the second opinion responds to the first opinion. But the Tanna Kama didn't say anything about notes. He was talking about a boat. So why does Reb Nosson chime in about boats? Why does he chime in about notes, about promissory notes? Who mentioned anything about that? So the Gemara says, something is missing, and this is the correct rendition. Svina niknes b'Mashicha v'Oisios b'Masira. The Tanna Kama says a boat can be acquired by pulling it. Notes could be acquired only if the previous owner hands them over to the new owner, to the purchaser. Rab Nasan says, Svina v'oisios, a boat and notes, niknes b'meshicha u'b'shtar, is acquired by pulling it and with the document. So here the Gemara says that also doesn't make sense. Why should a boat need a document besides the meshicha? We're going to see that notes, that makes sense that maybe meshicha is not enough. Because if you make meshicha on the note, maybe you're just acquiring the paper itself to use as a cork, but not the lien that the paper represents. For that, you need a shtar that clearly says that you're also purchasing the lien of the note. But why would you need a shtar by the boat? And that's what the Gemara now responds. Shtar l'svina lamali. What would you need a shtar for a boat? Metaltal. It's metaltal. Metaltal is acquired either with agva, shicha, mesira. You don't need a shtar. Elalav hachi ketani. It must be that the teaching is as follows. Svina niknes b'meshicha. A boat could be acquired by pulling it. The ice b'mesira. And a promissory note could be bought when the seller hands it over to the buyer. Reb Nasan svina b'meshicha. The boat is acquired by pulling it. The ice and the note is acquired b'shtar, with a document. Says the Gemara, well, wait a second. So then it comes out as pertaining to a boat. The Tanakama and the Rab Nasan are saying the same thing. They both say the boat is acquired by pulling it. Svina Meshicha, Hainu Tanakama. So what's the difference between the Tanakama and Rab Nasan when it comes to a boat? It must be the Rav Shmuel now. That the Machlokes is the same Machlokes as Rav and Shmuel, that one holds that it's enough to pull the boat only a little bit, and one holds that you have to pull the boat its full length. Says Gemara, no. As we welcome in Ilya Shouldn't, people are arriving very slow tonight.
What's the svar that you should have to pull the boat its full length as opposed to pulling, let's say, half its length? What's the svar?
The idea is you have to, in order to acquire it, you have to uproot it entirely from it, where it was by the previous owner.
If I own the dock,
What?
if I own the dock where the boat located,
You're the buyer or the seller?
buyer.
Buyer, if you owned it, you acquire it because it's in your rishus. Now, but it's not likely that would be the case. Because since you're buying it from me, it was probably in my property beforehand. If you bring it into your dock, then of course you would acquire it. Says the Gemara, Loi, Dekuli Alma Ikarav Ikishmo. Both the Tanakama and Rab Nasan either holds like Rav that it's enough to pull it a little or to pull the whole thing. And you're right. By Svina, they're not arguing. Svina Kuli Alma Loi Pligi. They're not arguing. Both of them agree that you acquire it with Meshicha. Ki Pligi Ba'isies. They're only arguing by the promissory note. V'achi Kamalei Rab Nasan l'Tanakama. And this is what Rab Nasan said to the Tanakama. B'svina by a vote, vadi moidinalach. Of course, I admit to you, you could acquire a boat with Meshicha. But by a note, ikashtar in, if besides the Mesira, you have an accompanying document, good, iloi. Why? Because, as we will see, Rab Nasan holds that if I hand over to Ruvain note, and Ruvain just makes Mesira, it has to be mukhrach, it has to be clear that he's purchasing also the lien of the shtar. But it's not clear, because maybe he's just buying the paper itself to use it as a cork for his asti spamanti. And overplukta dahani tanoi, and it's the same argument as the following tanoim. The Tanya oisios niknais b'mesira. Oisios documents could be acquired if the seller hands it over to the buyer. Divrei Meir. V'chachamim aimim divrei Rebbe. That's the opinion of Rebbe. V'chachamim aimim bein kosav v'loy masar. Whether if I'm selling to Ruvain the promissory note, let's say it's a note that Michal Avram owes me $100,000, and I sell it to Ruvain for $50,000. And I don't want to go into collecting the money, so I'll give him 50 cents on the dollar, and he buys the paper for me. It's called buying the paper. Bein kosav loy masar, whether I write him a document that I'm selling it, the lien, but there is no kinyan masira. Bein masar v'loy kosav, or there is a kinyan masira, I hand it over to him, but I didn't write an accompanying document like kana. It's not good at sheyichtov v'yimser, until I write him a document and there's also masira. Now the logic of Rab Nosson is very easy to understand. Rab Nosson says, with a shtar alone he can't acquire. Even though I say clearly in the shtar that I'm selling him the lien, because a shtar only works for karka and for avodim, for real estate and slaves, because I have the karkoidami. Anything else you can't acquire just with a shtar. But the Masira also doesn't work, because the Masira only shows that I'm selling him the actual paper to use as a cork. The only way it's mukhrach that it's both is if there's a Masira and a shtar. Says the Gemara, but there's a problem. But Mayu Kimta Karebi, you said that the teaching is going according to Rebbe right? That the Tanakama that says the Oisius is acquired with Masira is going according to Rebbe, but Svina Nami Tiknei Masira. Then why does he say Svina is acquired with Mashicha? According to Rebbe, Svina needs Masira. The Tanya, Svina Niknis b'Masira. A Svina is acquired by handing over the reins of the boat to the buyer, to Rich, Divrei Rebbe. The Chachamim and the Chacham say, Loikana, you don't acquire it, ad sheyim shechena, until you pull it to you, or yad sheyiskares mekayma, or like Baruch said, or unless you rent the area underneath it, right? Or it's in your dock, right? Then you acquire because it's in your property. So how could you say that the Tanakama earlier that says a boat is Niklas v'Mashicha is going according to Rebbe, where here you see that Rebbe holds that the boat is acquired by Masira? So the Gemara says, like Kasha, there's no difficulty. Kan b'Rishus Harabim, one is talking about where the boat is in the Rishus Harabim. Kan b'Simta, one is talking about where the boat is in a side area, which is not a public area. Now the din is, in a Rishus Harabim, you cannot acquire with Mashicha, because Mashicha means pulling it towards you. If it's in a Rishus Harabim, it's not towards you, it's a public domain. So there Rebbe says it has to be done by Masira. It has to be done by handing over the reins. Handing over the reins, where the seller hands the reins clearly to the buyer, that works even in the Rishus Harabim. So the Gemara says, if it's a simta, if it's a side area, there you could acquire with Mashicha. Says the Gemara, wait a second. But Mayu Kimta Lohabat Traisa, that this teaching that Rebbe says it's you acquire with Masira. Bereshus Harabim, wait. Ema Seifa. Look at the Seifa. B'chachamim oimrim, loikana ad sheyim shech, the Chacham say, loikana ad sheyim shechena, until you pull it to you, or until you rent the area. But how could you rent the area if it's a Rishus Harabim? The Iber Rishus Harabim a man oiger. V'su, and furthermore, we're saying that if it's a Rishus Harabim, the Rabbanan say you could acquire it with Mashiach. You can't acquire Mashiach. Everybody agrees that Mashiach doesn't work in the Rishus Harabim. V'su b'Mashiach b'Rishus Harabim mikanya. V'abaya v'Rava dimrei travayu Mesira kaina b'Rishus Harabim, that Mesira acquires in the Rishus Harabim, or b'chatzir sheina shel shneim, and in a courtyard that doesn't belong to either of them. While Mashiach kind of besimta, Mashiach acquires in the side area, or b'chatzir she shel shneim, and in a courtyard that belongs to both of them. V'agva kind of b'chol makom. Hagva is a super kinyan, and it acquires even in the rishus of the seller. Hagva works with everything. Now, says the Gemara, so how could you say, if you're saying that where Rebbe says it's b'Masira, is talking about the Rishus Harabim, but the Rabbanan say Ad Sheyim Shechena or Ad Sheyisker is Mekayma. So number one, how could we seicher the place if it's Rishus Harabim? Who are you going to rent it from? And number two, if it's talking about the Rishus Harabim, everybody holds you can't acquire with Mashiach in the Rishus Harabim. Says no, when the Rabbanan say Ad Sheyim Shechena, they don't mean until you do Mashiach in the Rishus Harabim. My Ad Sheyim Shechena Nami Dekamer. My Ad Sheyishker es Mekayma Dekamer. What did the Rabbanan mean? Hachi Kamer. Ad Sheyim Shechena Rishus Harabim Masinta, until you pull it out of the Rishus Harabim into a side area. The Rishus Bailami, and if Rich is trying to make a kinyan on the boat when it's in the owner's premises, there, like Kana, he doesn't acquire it Ad Sheyishker es Mekayma until he rents the area under the boat. The problem is that the Rebbe holds that the boat could be acquired with Mesira. The Rabbanan say you need Mashiach or renting the place. Now Abai and Rava both say that Mesira is kind of Rishus Harabim. Does that mean that they're paskening like Rebbe, like the Yochid against the Rabbim, against the Rabbanan? Lema Abai of a Rava the Imrei Karebi, and not like the Rabbanan? So here the Gemara adds another variable. See, that's complicated about learning Shas, is that we keep on adding new variables. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Ashi, Ida Amalei Lech Chazaku Kni. If it's Gedalia that's selling the boat to Rich, and Gedalia tells him, Lech Chazaku Kni, go take hold and acquire it, then Hachanami. Then even the Rabbanan agree that you could acquire the boat with Mesira in the Rishus Harabim. Gedalia said to Rich, go make a Meshicha and acquire it. Marsavar Kpeda. The Rabbanan hold that since he told him Leich Meshoichu Kni, so he's makbid that he should make a Meshicha. Or Marsavar Maramakamullah, he's only giving him one way, but he could also acquire with Mesira as well. Amra Papa. Slowly everybody is arriving here. I want to remind everybody that this week the daf starts at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock the daf starts. Amra Papa. Haiman de Mazvin leishtora lechavre. If here Mel is selling paper to Yisrael, right? What happens is that Stephen owes Mel $100,000, and Mel says, I don't want to get into collecting the money, and he offers to sell to Yisrael the paper for $50,000. So, man de mazman leishtar lechavre, tzorich lemichtav le, he has to write, he has to dot the I's and cross the T's. Tzorich lemichtav le, kni who you should acquire it, v'kol shibuda debay, and all of the lien that it represents. which means that he's selling him the paper and its power to collect from Stephen 100 grand. Amar Rav Ashi, Amrisa l'shmatze kamid Rav Kahana. I said this over before Rav Kahana, the Amrit lay, and I told him, why? Time of the Kasalei Hachi, it has to be accompanied by a document. Haloi Kasalei Hachi, if Yisrael only makes a kinyan on it, let's say he does Masira on it, Loi Kani. Why? What do you think? He's only buying it to use it as a cork? Is he only buying it to use as a cork? Obviously, he's buying it for its power to collect 100K. Amalei in, yes. Amalei in, he said yes. The kinyan has to be mukhrach. So if you make a kinyan masira, it only shows that you want the paper itself. If you want to also acquire the lien that it represents, you have to write that. You have to write it in the start. If not, it only shows latzur v'latzur. It only shows that he gets himself a very expensive cork for his asti spamanti. Okay, we're going to stop over here now, Rabbi Isai, and now we're going to learn the Mishnah Yomis. And again, I want to remind everybody that if you indeed did not hear last week's shir on Elul, then you missed something very important, and you should look. It's on TorahAnytime.com with two titles, because they first uploaded it by mistake as Shoftim 5784, and then I uploaded it correctly as Elul Gems 5784. So it is Elul Gems 5784. It's, by the way, a very good thing to watch with your wife to get into the mood.